Well, we are on the cusp of Worlds, but that doesn't matter because what North Americans actually pay attention to during Worlds, whenever the games are being played in the middle of the night, is the off-season rumors, because people find those sometimes a little more interesting than what massacre is occurring to our teams in another country. So let's talk about the players that have expiring contracts in the end of 2023. And I know a lot of people are going to say, Travis, you're just, and I've seen these comments before because I always do this video. Travis, you're just reading what's on that spreadsheet. Yeah, I am. There's a spreadsheet. It's out there. You could go read it right now. But guess what? A lot of people don't read that. And instead they see this video and they want to watch it so that they can make pithy remarks about people like you in the comments, and then they laugh at those, or they don't, and they just see me becoming more jaded and disillusioned with content creation. Either way, shout out to Alienware for sponsoring this video. Okay, so let's go through team by team and talk about this. These are all teams all these players are losing their contract, or they're expiring. They're not necessarily leaving the team. The team has to convince them to re-sign. Otherwise, their contracts expire towards the end of November 2023. Starting with 100T. Every player except for Quid has an expiring contract at the end of 2023. So that's Someday, Closer, Busio, and Doublelift. So maybe they all stick around, but that would mean that 100T would have to re-sign all of them. Otherwise, they get to go do whatever they want and find another team or whatever. So I do find it funny that Quid is the only one that has an extended contract. Honestly, I don't expect Quid to be on that team next year. So maybe they'll all leave, but there you go. Moving on to C9. No one has an expiring contract for next year. No one, Drew, you looked at this, right? Including Berserker? Yeah, because a lot of people are like, oh, Berserker is probably going to leave North America or something like that. And I guess maybe he could tell Jack, like, I'm going to play like shit unless you let me go back to LCK and do stuff there. But, like, his contract does not expire in 2023. So we'll see. Next up, Evil Geniuses. So I know there's a lot of rumors about what may or may not happen to this organization in the LCS, but interestingly enough, the only players who have contracts beyond this year are JoJo and Shiden. The players that have contracts that are expiring in November are Revenge, Armeo, Unforgiven, and Ayla. I actually really like this lineup this year, and I know they didn't make it to Worlds. I'm kind of bummed that they didn't make it to Worlds because I thought it was kind of a cool story that they threw this together, and suddenly it's doing way better than everyone expected. So it's a bummer because I do expect that a lot of changes will occur with EG, especially when you have 4 of those players with ending contracts in 2023. So we'll see how things go. FlyQuest. Vulcan is the only player on this team who has an expiring contract for 2023. I suspect that is because he just had his contract transferred over from Evil Geniuses, so they didn't renew it or sign a new one. Just because it's ending in 2023 doesn't mean that they won't keep him. Though I don't know what's going on with FlyQuest. It's been kind of crazy. I also feel bad for Vulcan because he's entering the off-season free agency period after like a pretty rough run. And quite frankly, like I just think supports on that roster were not going to succeed. So we'll see what 2023 off-season brings to him heading into 2024. But I don't know. Everybody else on FlyQuest is there. Vikla, I guess, has already been released, though. I think they made that post, right? So, and he's not on the roster contract. So there you go. Golden Guardians. No one has an expiring contract, so they could just run that roster back entirely. We will see if they do, because we haven't gone to Worlds yet. If they lose to Europe in the qualifier, then maybe you see some pretty big changes. But I hope not. I really like that roster. It did pretty well. It's not like the most charismatic crew, but I'm happy with them. I'm proud of them. They do well. They overperformed everyone's expectations this year. Immortals. Tactical and Treats have expiring contracts in 2023. They're on that roster database. You can go see they are losing there. You might be like, oh, okay, so then the other three players have already been dropped. It's over. It's Jover for those players. And so I think it's kind of funny that like they have 2 players still around that they haven't dropped yet, but that both of those players could just walk away from their contract in November. we will see what happens there. But yeah, apparently the bot lane was the only thing they've decided to potentially keep around, because otherwise they would have just dropped them by now, I assume. NRG. All right. These folks are going to Worlds. They just won a trophy, but FBI and Dokla have contracts that are expiring in 2023. And maybe the FBI contract was the same thing as Vulcan, where it was a transfer, and then that's why it's expiring. So I wouldn't read too much into it, but yeah, both those players have contracts they could enter free agency with. Team Liquid. This one is fascinating to me. So Team Liquid has Piosik, Summit, and CoreJJ with expiring contracts for 2023. I actually think CoreJJ might be the player that I'm most interested to see what happens, because I kind of feel like it's unlikely that he leaves Team Liquid, because he's such this like franchise player, and he's clearly connected pretty well, seemingly has a good relationship with like Dodo and Steve and all those guys. But like, I don't know, maybe he retires, maybe he goes into coaching. I think player salaries are going to get nerfed pretty hard, so maybe he doesn't get what he wants. I don't know. I do think he probably is planning on staying in North America or in LA. My understanding is that he really likes it here, and he considers life here to be what the future is for him. But I don't know. I just don't. That's so weird. It's like really weird to see that Team Liquid hasn't re-signed Core yet, and I'm fascinated to see what happens in the off season. Also, like, Core's not been as good as he has been in the past, so like, I wonder what's going to happen there. All right, TSM. I remember this team. They're probably they're not going to be something you'll remember for much longer, because they're going to be gone. Hey everyone, Travis here, just chiming in to say that we actually did record these before the Shopify news came out. In fact, it was the day before the Shopify stuff came out, so there's like some references to like, oh, what's going on with TSM or whatever. Just know that that's because we did that. But most of the video still, well, the vast majority of the video still holds up, so there you go. But they have Hansert, Wild Turtle, and Chime all have their contracts expiring in 2023. So theoretically, whoever acquires the team could try to extend those contracts, or they could let them go. I'm kind of surprised they haven't just let them go already. Insanity is already off that roster. I think, if I remember correctly, the contract database said that he lost his contract ended the moment that TSM got eliminated. So he's gone. Hilariously, Boogie is signed through 2024. So that player could be there on the new team. I don't know. We'll see. The last one is Dignitas, and it's Poom. Poom's the only player on that team that has an expiring contract. It's expiring in 2023 in November, so we'll see if he sticks around. I assume that was another one of those contracts that just got transferred over and was probably already set to expire in 23, so we will see. But a lot of contracts that are expiring. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that changes in 2024. I actually have a video coming out soon that I recorded just before this one, but we're going to release this one first, that talks a lot about predictions that I'm making for 2024, less on the roster side, but just more on the LCS side. So I think it's going to be a chaotic offseason. I just want to put this out so people can start speculating before we start getting the rumor mill going. Either way, hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around for the outro, and yeah, really appreciate your support. You know, I bet a lot of you are watching my videos from all sorts of different places. Maybe a house, but also maybe an apartment, or a dorm, or a kitchen, or a closet, or a bathroom. And now you can watch from even more places with Alienware's new Aurora R16 desktop, which fits into cozy spots with its reduced footprint and streamlined, refined, and minimal look. Even with all that, it still packs a punch with NVIDIA GeForce RTX 40 series graphics. You can support my content by checking out my sponsor, Alienware, over at alienware.com/Travis.